making a conscious decision to better ourselves, and I've got a flip chart for you guys. These are things that we need to move through and realize as we start to better ourselves. The first thing that we need to understand is, I don't know what I don't know. Now, that can sound a little confusing. I don't know what I don't know. That means maybe there's some things that we just don't know a whole lot about. For example, on our team, we all come from different agricultural backgrounds. I know a lot about peanuts, and I know a lot about hogs, but I don't know a whole lot about strawberries or forestry. So trying to understand the agriculture industry in Florida would be really hard all by myself, but pulling from my teammates, I can learn a little bit more and try and understand that there's no way I can know everything. So we have to learn how to make choices on what we need to spend our time learning. So the next step is, I know what I don't know. Like I said before, I can say, well, I sure don't know a whole lot about the ag industry, but I can look at specific examples saying, I know that I don't know these things. So there's endless examples of what we don't know. I mean, neuroscience, brain surgery, a whole lot about that, but I need to find out what I need to know in order to serve other people. So whether it's making a list of something or finding out what we don't know that we need to know. Does that make sense? So the choice we have to make is what I'm learning and what I'm spending my time doing going to help other people, not just me? Because if we spend our time as leaders serving ourselves, we're not doing our purpose. We need to serve others even through what we spend our time learning about and doing. Next one. I grow, I know, and it shows. Okay, once we start acquiring this knowledge and once we start using it, it shows. So we need to start spending time going through that list, figure out what we don't know, what we need to know, and the more we use it, the better we get, and then you can start seeing how we can serve other people through our knowledge. Okay? Last one. I go because of what I know. Now, does anybody have something that just comes natural to them? Horses. Horses? What about you? Guitar? Okay, guitar. I play guitar too. Now, when you just first pick up that guitar, did you know all the chords? Did you know where all the notes were? I mean, it'd be kind of hard to just pick it up and start making pretty music, because I've heard a lot of bad music with people just learning how to play guitar. So if you use that as an analogy, sometimes we just have to practice. We have to hammer out those bad notes and build up those calluses on our fingers and start getting used to playing. And it's not easy to start something new and to learn. But the more we do, the better we get, and then it shows the time and effort that we put into it, and we're able to do what we set out to do, which is serve other people in our case. So 4 steps. I don't know what I don't know. I know what I don't know. I grow, I know, and it shows, and then I go because of what I know.
How many of you have ever heard of Teddy Roosevelt? Okay? Most everybody has. You know that Teddy Roosevelt was one of the greatest presidents in American history. He was the man who had the Panama Canal built. He won a Nobel Peace Prize for stopping the Russian and Japanese war. He was called our cowboy president and a bull moose. He was this great, big, physical specimen of a man. But he didn't start out that way. When T.R. was just a little boy, his folks actually thought he was going to die. He was so small and frail and weak that his parents never thought he'd live to be a teenager. One day his father took him aside and he said, "Son, you have the mind, but you have not the body. And without the body, the mind can never go as far as it should." And T.R. began to work, lift weights, and build his body up, and run, and hike, and swim, and climb. And he built himself up. And at the same time, he was building his mind. And we all know what T.R. went on to become. But the story, I think, that tells us the most about T.R.'s dedication to continuous improvement is the story they tell about the end of his life. They say that when T.R. died, they called the funeral director to come in, and they were going to move his body out, and they found underneath his pillow a book. And this book was on a subject that was totally new to Teddy Roosevelt. So even in the last hours of his life, This man who had accomplished so much, who had won a Nobel Peace Prize, who was an author, who had been the President of the United States, was still trying to better himself so that he could better serve those around him. We've got to remember, leadership develops daily, not in a day.
Now Will just talked, excuse me, Will just talked a little bit about Teddy Roosevelt. You know, when we think about it, there are all sorts of great examples of true leaders and how they're great representations of what leadership actually is. But let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever played with a Mr. Potato Head? I know I played with Mr. Potato Head back in the day. And it just so happens that a couple years back, when I was at a conference just like this, one of the state officers, and it might have even been on Miss Vincent's team, I'm not positive, told us that they wanted our groups to come up with a great symbol, a great representation of what a true leader really was. And our team came up with Mr. Potato Head. You know, he wore all sorts of different hats. He had a great set of shoes that would carry him all sorts of different distances. And at the same time, he had a great set of glasses. Those glasses were symbolic of having great vision. That's where the N comes into play in a minute. Leaders go nowhere without vision. Every single one of us have different visions here. We all see ourselves in different places. We have different futures. We have different goals. But we have to truly understand what our vision really is. We have to solidify it, make it concrete, so that we can be true leaders and we'll understand where we're going. In order to really figure out what our vision is, there are 4 voices inside us that we have to listen to. Those 4 voices are inner, unhappy, successful, and higher. Let's start with inner. Somebody give me some ideas of what they think your inner voice might actually be about. Anybody? In the back.
Conscience.
Your conscience? You took it? Any other ideas? Well, for the most part, that's definitely correct. Your conscience. Everything that's inside, what your mind, your conscience, what your brain, what your heart, what everything inside of you is telling you is right. You know, the things that really make you happy, the things that you want to do. That's what you need to be following. But then we get to your unhappy voice. What might your unhappy voice be telling you?
The things that might come, the bad things that might come from doing something, and you know that something may be good, it's still going to be there. I mean, when it's all good, because this will happen.
Absolutely. The bad things within you. Every single one of us has flaws. You know, we talked about it last night. We're not all perfect, but that's the beauty of everybody being different and unique. But we have to listen to our unhappy voice inside. Figure out what makes us, you know, sad, what makes us angry, things that we really don't like. Those are the things that we need to work on whenever we're trying to find our vision. Because when it comes down to it, if we're trying to pursue something in the future, we don't really want to have all those unhappy things in our lives. You know, we don't want to do things that are going to make us mad, angry, sad. Third, successful. Any ideas of what your successful voice might be telling you? Oh yeah? That could definitely be one of them. Your successful voice telling you, ooh yeah. Because when you say ooh yeah, that means that you're doing pretty good. And you could be following somebody who is successful. That's where successful comes into play because every single one of us here has some kind of a role model. Successful within, or whenever we're talking about voices, is referring to those people that you recognize as being successful. Not about you truly being successful yourself. You have to have a role model that you look up to, and your voice is telling you to look up to them and to be more like them whenever you're trying to find your vision and solidify it. And finally, we get to higher. What about your higher voice? You got another one?
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing? Anybody else? Well, when I personally think about what your higher voice is telling you, I think that speaks a lot about the things that you believe in, what your faith is, maybe even your religion. When you're trying to create a vision, think about the direction that you want to go in life. If you have some kind of vision that doesn't involve God or some kind of faith, then it's probably not a very good vision. Maybe it's not even a big enough vision. At the same time, we always have to look to a higher voice outside of just our own whenever we're creating this vision. So remember, inner, unhappy, successful, and higher. All 4 voices that we have to listen to in order to create a successful vision for our futures. And with that